Right. Hello and welcome, FPL managers, and welcome to the Zonal Weakness for Game Week 9. Brought to you by, of course, Gone Football Fantasy and powered by Fantasy Football Scout. Tonight, for this week, of course, Bethany joins me all the way from the UK. Welcome, Bethany, as my co-host.
Thank you. Thanks for having me again.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, it feels like forever since we've done FPL. Game week 8 feels a long time away. How about you?
I've completely forgotten about FPL, to be honest. I think I need a memory refresher course kind of thing to just, to bring back all the memories of Game Week 8 and everything that has happened before that. But yeah, Game Week 8 itself was a disaster. So
Oh no.
I'm not really quite happy where things are going. Right now, I'm just on a sliding slope. So yeah, a bit worried, to be honest. But beside that, yeah, it's good to be back. I mean, and it's good that FPL is back. At least we'll have a good weekend. Yeah, let's just hope we'll have a good weekend. I mean, we can
hopefully.
promise ourselves that, yeah.
It's definitely been a roller coaster season so far.
Definitely. I mean, let's not get into my personal rank, and I can tell you that, yeah. But I echo your sentiment, and I completely understand that it's been a roller coaster of a season. But yeah, it's good to be back. And of course, audience, thank you so much for joining and watching in. This is the Zonal Weakness for Game Week 9. And of course, if you haven't followed us on Twitter or liked our Facebook page or you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so now because we are doing regularly with Bethany and of course with FPL Radar. There's a lot of effort that we are trying to put in forward. So please do support us, and every support that you give is sincerely appreciated. And all the data is, of course, including the zonal and any other data that you see, is all taken from the Fantasy Football Scout members area. If you're interested in the membership, please do click on the link in the description section, and you'll get a 30% discount currently that is ongoing. So yeah, perfect time to buy and get your membership for Fantasy Football Scout. So Bethany, let's have a look at the transfer suggestion that we made back in Game Week 5. And it was Heung-min Son, I think, after his hat trick. And of course, the fixtures were looking great. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, so I think the thing to talk about first is obviously he's achieved 6 points per match, which I think if you'd offered me that at Game Week 5 that he was going to get 6 points per match over the next 4 weeks, I'd have absolutely taken it. So he's done well from points, but I think how he's achieved his points have probably very different to how we expected it. So we probably went in expecting him to get those points in the Sheffield game and the Luton game, and actually he got a haul against Arsenal, 14 points, and another return against Liverpool. So I think we've kind of learned quite a lot from those 4 weeks that actually a low block is not the kind of game that we want Son in. He's not going to get potentially that many points against the lower teams in the division. Actually likes playing against attacking teams, ones that let him get forward. And give him that space to run into. So that's something that we've learned from him. But yeah, he's been a good transfer, I'd say, for those who did bring him in then.
Yeah, at least I did. And I did captain him against Sheffield. So yeah, hooray to that one. 2 points. You can understand. Yeah, there you go. And I think this table itself kind of illustrates clearly, what sort of a roller coaster ride we've been having as FPL managers and those who are trying to move away from Haaland captaincy and, trying to see as an opportunity and then trying to capitalize it, which completely failed, I think, on 2 occasions, if I'm correct, because against Luton, I think a lot of people went for captaining Son, which didn't work out. Some of them, like me, played safe with Haaland. Didn't work out. Apparently, it was Salah who did the trick. But yeah. So yeah, let's see what the zonal says for Game Week 9. So here it is. And what stands out?
Quite a few different players stand out. So I think starting with Man City against Brighton, I think those people who still got both Haaland and Alvarez up front can definitely hope for a good week this week with both of them. I sold Alvarez a couple of weeks ago for Watkins, and although I'm very happy with Watkins, I am Gutted not to have Alvarez for this fixture because I think it could. I think there could be goals definitely. Brighton are very leaky at the moment, and they continue to attack and leave that space. So I think, Haaland and Alvarez. I'm going to put my captaincy back on Haaland this week. Then Gordon and Trippier for Newcastle. Obviously, lots of people brought Gordon in, and then he got his fifth yellow, so he had to take a break for a week. But I think those people who've held on to him are going to be very pleased to be able to start him again. I actually am really surprised with this data. I didn't realise that Palace were quite so poor at the number of crosses that they were conceding. I had them down as a much better defence than that, but they're obviously second for the zonal weakness there. So Trippier and Gordon owners should do well. And Trippier obviously has the double threat because hopefully he might get an attack in return with that from the crosses. But also Palace are obviously without Eze at the moment. They're not really scoring many goals. So hopefully some bonus points, a clean sheet, and maybe an attack in return too. In the middle, we've got both Manchester United and Brentford, who are both coming up really good on the zonal weakness. But obviously, many of us have been burned over the last few weeks holding their assets because they've had good fixtures. So personally, I sold Mbromo this week. I've brought in Neto. I think I've had enough. And the same with United. I think people have probably had enough. If you've still got them, they might be a hold for you for that one more fixture because the zonal is so nice. But I definitely wouldn't be going out buying them. And I definitely wouldn't be holding two of them. So if you've got two out of Rashford, Fernandes and Mbromo, I definitely feel like you're safe to sell one of them for somebody who's a bit more in form. I think the team to really look at this week and for the coming weeks is Villa. You've got Watkins there, ranked first and fourth. You've got Diaby and Cash ranked third. I definitely think having double, maybe even triple up on Villa for both this fixture against West Ham, but also then next few fixtures all look good. So, they would be my focus for transfers, those people who are looking at what to do this week and they don't have Villa players already. And then I just wanted to point out before we moved on is Martinelli. Just as a bit of a punt, if you're maybe on a wild card this week and you want somebody that you don't necessarily need to hold on long term, but you want somebody for this week, he obviously is looking good there with the crosses right on the right flank, fifth there. And I just think Martinelli, we've seen it before, we've seen it in previous seasons, how good he can be. I guess it's just that he is coming back from injury. He only played 50 minutes last time, but he did get a return, so it's just whether or not you can trust him for that from that minute side. But I do really like Martinelli, and I would be looking at him potentially over the next few weeks, even if I didn't go this week.
Right. So I have a dilemma. I have Højlund and Fernandes. I don't have Rashford. Should I sell one?
I'd be selling Højlund for certain for either Watkins or Alvarez. Like the numbers on here speak for themselves, and they've been much more consistent. So yeah, depending on what the rest of your team's like if you've already got Villa cover in Diaby and Cash, maybe go back to Alvarez. So then maybe Alvarez. Yeah.
So maybe just play this week because the zonal says he's ranked second. So
he does. He does, but
because I'll be kicking myself.
United. I know, but how many weeks have they been the same? And then everybody comes away with no points. I can see it though, because you've got to go with the zonal, because there are times when we haven't gone with the zonal and then it's frustrated us. So we've got to go with it. But 1 week.
Yeah, my idea is
1 week.
Moving away from Højlund next week in game week 10 to Watkins probably, or even to Alvarez. I don't know. Depends on the fund, but yeah, probably it's a sideways move. But for this week, maybe perhaps just hold on. But yeah, it's a dilemma that I have, and I'm not yet sure as to what sort
I think you've got to put a time limit on it for if you're going to hold him this week, unless he returns this week. Because otherwise you might be in the same position next week. If he doesn't return, but the fixture looks good, you go with it again for a second, third, fourth week and keep missing out on those points from Watkins or Alvarez that'll most likely come. So yeah, I can see why you told him for this week, but I'd put a limit on it and go next week if he doesn't return for you.
Yeah, that's exactly the thinking next week. But Yeah, I hope he delivers this week.
It would
And
be a
then
great differential for you if he does.
and then I don't know. Then it puts me into another situation whereby, I'll probably be thinking like, maybe he's just finding his form. Maybe I should just hold on for another week. And
Yeah,
it's another dilemma. But anyway,
so
let's
tricky.
move to the next slide and see what's there. Oh wow, this looks a little bit different.
Yeah, very different. I mean, obviously the only player that's standing out from the zonal side of things is Kuna here, which is interesting because I think a few weeks ago, none of us, I definitely wasn't looking at Wolves, but they've really started coming round. However, although the zonal looks great for Kuna this week, I think if you're going long term, so if you've already used your wild card or you're on a wild card this week, I think long term I'd rather have Neto or Hwang in there. I think for consistency, again, if you want a 1 week punt, Kuna's the one for this week. But long term, I would be going for one of the other two Wolves assets. But I definitely wouldn't be avoiding them like I would have been a few weeks ago. I think the only other things here is more worrying things. So if you've still got Matoma, obviously ranked 20th and 17th this week. I've got double up on West Ham assets in Ward-Prowse and Bowen. And I was hoping that the zonal might be a bit nicer for them, and it's not looking that great at all. So I think all it shows here really is some not great fixtures for some of those highly owned players like Matoma, like Ward-Prowse, like Bowen. Some people still hanging on to Sterling, that kind of thing. Isn't looking great this week.
Yeah, true. So let's move quickly to the team of the week because this week we don't have any transfer suggestions based on zonal weakness. So let's see what the team of the week looks like, and I think might just give an indication as to how everyone would feel about the zonal this week. So here it is. Who stands out? Mbeumo.
Yeah, and Bremer's still in there. I think he's been in quite a few though, and he's let us down. So again, I think it's about prioritizing. Really, is whether or not if you've got other fires that are more important, he's got the fixture, so keep him. But if you've got nothing else to do, or you've got 2 free transfers and you don't want to waste one, moving him on to somebody else, potentially like a Diaby now, rather than giving him another week, is potentially your option. But if you've got other fires to put out, focus on them first, because Mbeumo does have the fixture this week. I think, again, like we've talked about previously, it's interesting seeing both Haaland and Alvarez up there, and the double up on Villa. I do think that's a priority this week, is getting at least one Villa if you haven't got any Villa players in, but 2. And I think Trippier, I know a lot of people who've wildcarded have got rid of him to maybe be able to afford Haaland and Salah. But I do think he is at the moment showing why he's worth that price over your Burns or your Botmans or whatever. I know Botman might still be injured, but I think Trippier, if you can get to him, is definitely worth it.
Right. Yeah. I think the only worry is for me is Watkins and Alvarez. But beside that, I think, and I'm not really worried about Mbeumo because a lot of people have sold him already. So not worried about it. I think the rest of the team kind of have it. So yeah, it looks a little bit much better in terms of the last 2 game weeks that the team of the week was in comparison to my own personal team. So I would say it looks much better. So I'm a bit more hopeful, let's say, this week.
That's good, because I'm looking at that midfield and thinking I don't own any of those.
Yeah.
So that's worrying.
I don't have Rashford, I don't have Mbeumo, I don't have Alvarez, and I don't have Watkins. I think those are the 4 players that are missing. So, but beside that, I think the rest covers it. So, but yeah, I still have Højlund, and there is Madison there. So, still hopeful that But anyway, that's it for this week. Then, thank you so much for joining, Bethany, and of course, it's a pleasure to have you. And I will see you in game week 12.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Okay.
Brilliant.
But until then, all the very best, and see
Thanks,
you.
and you. Hope the game is good to you this week.
Yeah, same to you as well. And let's hope all the audience watching, hope your arrows are green. Thank you so much. Pleasure.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.